So Lauren, I mean, how do you see kind of cross-border interoperability, working to mitigate some of those fears?
Yeah, I mean, I think trust is quite an esoteric concept. What you find
Mhm.
trustworthy is maybe I don't find trustworthy. And I think from an open banking perspective, trust really starts with that relationship between the banks and the fintech community. As we've seen in the UK, in Europe, every country that kind of embarks on an open banking journey, it's quite an acrimonious relationship in the beginning. The banks kind of feel they're taking their pie. The fintechs feel like the banks are making things really hard for them. And it's quite like I say, acrimonious relationship. But I think there's a lot that can be done to kind of mitigate that. And that's not just true for the cross-border space, but for the domestic space as well. In the implementation of trust frameworks, we've seen, API conformance suites really helping to ensure that everyone is complying with the rules and everyone can trust each other. We see, central directories, obviously our space, being really, really important in that. And, Tom mentioned it as well, robust dispute management processes. And I think when the banks and the fintechs feel comfortable in the safety and the security of the environment that they're working within and open banking, that trickles down to the consumer. They get a robustness of service and innovative products based on that kind of core trust at an industrial level. And I think the UK is a good example of that. But where I think in other markets it's been quite interesting to observe is also around the communication to the customer. We all agree that customers don't care about open banking. We don't need to talk to them like we talk amongst ourselves. But they have been told for generations to not give their information to random fintech companies that they never heard of. I think there's markets in Asia that have investigated that quite strongly around how to communicate and provide a consistent message to the customer that that is actually okay. Now there are new fintechs in the market that can be trusted. So I think the trust concept is very multifaceted, and it's not just about how can I build trust in individual consumers. It's how can we build trust about open banking in general as a concept at an industry level.